we go.
All right, it's Monday, May 1st, 2023, calling the Selectmen's meeting to order. First order of business would be to pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public input? Doesn't appear to be any. Let's have a look at our minutes. Ooh. We have a set of non-public minutes here, April 24th. I've read them and I don't see anything that seems out of line. I would have a motion to accept those as written.
Moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are we doing both sets at the same time?
Yes, we are. Here comes April 24th again. Those look perfectly good to me.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next up, we have our Parks and Rec Director, Dennis Lumbo. Come on down, Dennis. Yeah.
So commission meeting tomorrow,
Yes,
be there.
I'll be there.
Good. Just wanted to pass that out, we'll highlight it, I'll get to that in a minute. I just wanna start, I wanna talk about an incident.
Chopped liver here. What are you
Oh,
talking
I'm sorry. Right here. Just wanna talk about an incident we had at Dodgeball. Last week they were on vacation, the week before. Pound comes up and says, one of your kids have a knife. I said, okay. So they showed me the knife, and it wasn't a Boy Scout knife, it was pretty good size. Blue, speckled, kind of a good sized blade. So I grabbed the knife and held it. The kid had come over to get a drink where he had put the knife in his drink and his jacket and stuff. And he yelled, where's the knife? Where's the knife? So I got the kid aside, talked to him. I said, do you understand? Bringing a weapon into a school, what's been happening in society with shootings and, you know, you put the news on and all you hear is stabbing this in Manchester, this, and I said, your parents know? He says, yeah, they want me to be able to protect myself. I says, oh, okay. I says, well, I got the knife. Your parents, when they come get you, or have them come see me at town offices, and you have your knife back. So the father did come to pick him up, and I went out and talked to him, and he was pretty upset. You know, he yelled at the kid, and all the family. But, you know, I ran a Boys and Girls Club in Boston, Dorchester, and a little different than Tuftonboro, believe it or not. You know, we had kids killed, murdered there. And some kids would come and they would know enough to check their weapons at the desk, whether it be a roll of quarters taped up or knives or whatever. But my point is this, you know, it's nice to fix that road and to buy another cruiser, but what are we doing with these kids? I mean, we need more programs for them. You know, we got to start programming them. Too much of this, too much computer. And it's not just the program, it's just socializing and just all that stuff. And I just think our kids they really don't have a whole lot. And if that kid got into a fight out in the playground and maybe was losing the fight, what do you think would have happened? So I just want you to be aware of that. You know, people would have said something, I don't know, but one of the teachers' daughters was in the program, and she was there from Central School. So I told her about it. Whether they did anything, I don't know. But fourth grader carrying a knife like that, I don't think is a good deal. But I wanted to let you know. I'm sorry to start out on
Well, maybe you should set up a meeting with the administration down there.
at the school.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that because I find out that the summer school this year in Tuftonboro Central is out. Our kids now have to go either to Alton or Ossipee. And if I had enough time, and I've actually talked to 2 teachers about being a camp director. You could run a half-day program, full-day program. It'd be perfect now that summer school's not there. But it's kind of late in the season to be get into that, getting, you know, nurses and transportation and all that other stuff. But that's something that I think we want to look at, you know, down the road, certainly. But Yeah, that's, I mean, I know their principal, I think she's out for a while, whether it's a medical thing or something, maybe a month or so, but that's,
School will be over.
yeah, no, we got a pretty good relationship with all of them down there.
Did you, eject the kid?
No, I didn't want to disrupt everybody, you know, and then we continued the thing, and, like I said, the father said he was handling it, and he was mad, I mean, whether he knew that he had the knife, I don't know.
Well, it's better than him being mad at you. I think if he were mad at you,
Then we'd have an issue.
that would have
Yeah.
a big problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Because,
But I mean, the kid, I mean, like, put his water, jacket, his knife. It wasn't trying to hide anything, you know? So, anyway, let's go on. The bike trail update, last week was a good week. We got two $1,000 checks in, which was nice for that.
Nice.
Private individuals. So we're definitely over $7 grand. We want to thank Zach Tufts for making that sign out there for us. We do have a fundraiser this Saturday. Go ahead.
Do people realize that this is only phase one?
Yeah, that, you know, that could be confusion. On the first sign we had out there was 69,000, and you know, to me, I just want to get the thing started and get to the 26. You know.
I just don't want people to give donations to this, what's the amount, $27,000?
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
And then you put out another sign
Saying, yeah,
looking
no,
for money again, and they say, geez, didn't we already?
Yeah, we gotta
Donate to this?
get that message across that the total project is this amount, and the first phase is this amount. So, yeah, no, that's a good point, Bob. So anyway, the fundraiser is up at the camp. We thank all the camps. They're doing all the cooking, lasagna, salad, drinks, dessert. And that was actually offered to Kevin during, we had the Easter egg hunt up there, so very generous to us. But he involved the other camps. Right now, I think we got about 50. Some of the auction items, if I could just mention them, there's a house caretaking where they wash the windows, power wash the house. I think it's valued at $300. There's a home handyman, $500 certificate. A staycation from State, New Hampshire, $500. We got a vintage boat ride for $8. That's valued at $320. The cottages of Wolfboro come in with $1,200 overnight weekend thing, plus a restaurant certificate and champagne.
a $300 boat ride?
Well, it's $40 times 8. Figure that out.
Oh, it's eight person boat ride.
Yeah. Is that the Millie? Is it the?
Millie B.
Yeah, that kind of a wooded type. I was on it a couple times. Pretty good. Studio 18 was the new indoor golf in Wolfboro, and there's actually a whole kids thing in there too. He contacted me and about kids coming there and offered $100, so that's good. And then we got some baskets too, but hopefully tomorrow with the meeting with some of our commissioners, we'll get some more. Again, the dinner's free. You can make a donation if you want. If you want to bid on the auction items, some silent auctions, some are Chinese auction. If you know the difference. Chinese auction, you'll get like X amount of tickets, and you can put them in any basket you want. You can put them all in one if you really want that prize. Whereas silent auction, Bob bids $80 on that weekend. I come in, I bid $85. So that's a difference. So we got a DJ. He's donating his services also for the program this Saturday.
And what time is it on Saturday?
5 to 7. Yeah, up at Camp Sentinel. So lasagna, so.
So the Nolan thing must get over, I don't know when it's this Saturday, I know that.
What Nolan's thing?
The Russ Nolan Memorial.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the restaurant in Wolfboro.
No.
Oh, no, sure.
Should work out.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say this, but we're going to be close to having enough money so you're going to feel comfortable with signing that. A couple big ones still coming in. However, we're going to be about 8,000 short. So we talked, I don't know if you remember, Bob, at the last commission meeting about, if you look at that line item that's highlighted in yellow, it's that youth assistance. And I'm going to guarantee we're going to get here in December, and you know what? We're going to be looking at the same thing. We're going to pay Wolfboro their share, but I'm going to guarantee that 84, 88 is still going to be sitting there. So my plea is to you is, can we take that and, why not?
Well, you don't know that,
Because it's-
because at the end of the year, when when the town of Wolfboro sends us their invoice, and it's not itemized or doesn't have any information on it, and we decide not to pay the bill, which is entirely possible, that money may be needed.
But you can't, I mean, the budget committee and the selectmen created this budget.
Right.
They voted on this budget. The town then was presented this budget and they voted on it. You can't take money out of this budget and put it into something that it was never voted on. So if we take the $8,000 and move it into highways, that's okay. Because that's already in the budget that they voted on. But we can't take it out of the general budget and put it into something that the town didn't vote for or against.
Well, the 2 points is, number one, our communication with Wolfboro in the last X amount of months has been not good, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. The point I made about other programs, this is one of those programs. But do you agree with me that when we're gonna come here in December, they're still gonna be sitting there?
It doesn't matter in this conversation, Dennis. It could be sitting there. If it is sitting there, we don't have any place to put it, then it's gonna go into the undesignated fund balance.
That's
You
just-
have to, we don't control the money. We just make recommendations and
No, I understand.
Town
Just-
votes
I
on the
just,
money.
I just know without that, it's not gonna start in June. As much as we fundraise, you know. Well, I know we'll get close, but that would've put us over. But anyway, I'll just drop that. So next week's big week, we got CPR Tuesday.
Although I've just educated you for the 10th time on how budgets work and you still don't get it, one thing that we might be able to look at is recreational areas. So if you wanted to increase that or overspend that, that might be an alternative.
Why would I overspend it though?
I'm uncomfortable
Because
with,
you have $5,000 budgeted and you've got 3,777 left.
Yeah.
So, what are you uncomfortable with, Bob?
purposely overspending a line.
We do it all the time, buddy.
That doesn't make it any more comfortable.
Well,
So
you're
what-
not gonna move the money, or you're not gonna my vote to move the money from one line to another. What we're looking to do is stay within that $67,000 total budget. That's all we're doing. That's our goal anyway. But you're gonna find the spring line on the highway department's overspent. And we're not gonna adjust that. We may never adjust it. We may not have. The only time historically, the only time we've moved money, let's say for that $8,500, is to a different budget. Because we needed to make something happen over there.
Yeah, I understand.
But within the same budget, if he's not gonna spend the $8,500 or whatever it is, 8,400
84, 88.
on youth assistance, then, and I'm just positing this as an alternative, then if he spent an additional $7,000 on his recreational areas in the guise of the bike path,
I think that's what one president referred to as fuzzy math.
how?
You're, it's all semantics. You're
Okay, let's take another example. Let's say Dennis came in 2 weeks and told us that he can get his water safety instructors done, but it's gonna cost $4,000. We're gonna say no to the water safety instructors? Because all he's got is $3,500?
No,
We're gonna overspend,
probably
we're gonna
gonna
overspend that
do
money.
it.
That's how we would have to do it.
But we're also not shutting down spring maintenance
No, we can't.
either.
We can't shut parts down, we just have to figure that his fall maintenance, we're back to the highway. We're using up part of that fall maintenance here in the spring. in theory, if not in practice. So, I mean, if we're married to the numbers as budgeted over here in the left-hand column, then we're gonna run ourselves right into a problem in a number of different areas.
I'm very familiar with the problem
Yeah,
of the place, but we're not tied by that rule here, I understand.
right. Well, we're not either, it's just that they have to get the vote of the delegation.
But I think it's bad practice, so to purposely overspend the line.
Well, listen, I'm sorry you think I'm so ignorant on the budget, but what I'm saying to you is this. You're saying, as long as I don't go over that total 67,
No, you didn't listen, once again.
again,
Okay, you wanted to take $7,000 out of this budget and put it in your fund that you're raising money for.
right.
That's not gonna happen. That can't happen. It's against the law, actually. What I'm saying is, let's work within this budget after I've taught you that lesson to try to find the $7,000 in a place you can use it. And
And you're saying like the recreation area, you might overspend that.
that's exactly what I said. I'm having trouble with Bob coming around, but that's okay.
All right, let's go on, I understand, I think.
Moving on.
Next week, we got the CPR class at the fire station. Again, it's overflow. We can only take 10, and I've probably got another 5 or 6 that are just on the waiting list. So it's probably gonna have to be another class pretty soon. And next Friday, we got the family fun night at the school with the PTO. We're running the kickball segment. And then our last entertainment is that's Saturday, the 13th, Calvin Ramsey. Cornhole, it's filled up, 12 teams, 24 players. That starts on the 24th.
It's on television now.
Cool.
How'd your concert go Saturday night?
It was better. It was probably 20-something. But I think the goal is to promote it during the summer concerts and go once a month. And go that way, maybe the first Saturday of every month, but it was better, and the entertainment's been great. Calvin Ramsey, I think, will bring a crowd. She has a pretty good following. It's funny, the concerts, we just sent out a second wave of sponsorships last week for more sponsors, but I just got one in today, and ironically, the bands are costing me $4,300. What do I have? $4,300.
Wow.
So any stuff that comes in with the second mailing will just be going to the bike trail. No, I'm kidding.
You can do whatever you want to do with your revolving fund, you can do.
No, I mean, R2 management, Jeff has been awesome. He's donated a lot of items for the thing this Saturday. He come in with $1,500 for the concert, so keep him on board, I think, you know. Good news on the swim instructors. I got a pair of sisters. I met with one of them. She's been out of school 2 years. She's actually the head person for OSAPI, but she only goes on trips that have water. So between her and her sister, she's getting recertified, and the sister's getting certified up at Sentinel Father's Day weekend. They go up there for 2-3 days. But between the two of them, it was just in the beginning stages, and I told them I got to start promoting this. So we're going to get dates and times that either one of them are going to be available to us. So that's the good news. It's not locked in yet, but it looks good. We got open house. Actually, we had met with those people with the dedication of the chair.
I was going to speak to that as well.
Okay.
I would like to, rather than you.
Okay, I'm going to let you do it. But what I'm saying is, one of the dates they threw out was June 24th.
Yes, it was.
But I'll get into it when you get into it.
Yeah.
Because we got something that we could kind of combine. We've got DJs and stuff down there, so.
We can do that easily. So
Yeah.
Dennis and I met with the Friends of Jerry Conroy about the placement of a stone seat monument down at 19 Mile Beach. Dennis and I agreed that the area that they would like to have it in is not bothersome and shouldn't limit anybody from doing anything. If you're familiar with the beach layout and you're looking at the water, there's almost a wooden guardrail type setup there. There's a very narrow strip on the left-hand side. They'd like to place that chair about 2/3 of the way down that strip from the opening, Doesn't seem to be an issue to anybody, no problem getting it in there, and it shouldn't take up any room or limit anybody's usage. So if we can agree that, that would be,
It's not gonna affect that repair that we have.
not at all, nowhere near it.
It's almost a part of the beach that no one uses, but apparently this is where she sat.
Because she didn't want to be swamped with little kids and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But anyway, if we can approve that, they'd like a letter, and I have one written up that just says, the Friends of Jerry are hereby granted permission to place a stone chair monument at 19 Mile Beach on the spot approved by the Parks and Rec Director and Chairman Pike.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good, I'm gonna sign that now, and I'd like that back, because I'll hand deliver that, if that's okay with everybody.
And when is this gonna be happening?
Well, they would like to have a dedication ceremony and a little gathering on the 24th of June, which happens to correspond.
We're gonna have this open house for outriggers, we got a DJ, we got a cookout. You know, I promise, we just bought it, anybody ever needs it for a town event, a 10 by 20. You know, I thought those pop-up tents are great, but they break so easy, this is a little bit bigger, sturdier. So I offered that with tables and the grills, so
Thanks,
we might be
Brett.
able to combine both activities with the DJ and everything else.
Yeah, it'd be a good deal, they could have wingding if they do that.
Yeah,
And you can coordinate with them, of course, and then with you,
right.
which they're gonna do anyway, before they
Yeah.
set the chair and everything.
And they've got the chair made? Or-
No, actually,
2,000 pounds. I had
they got
asked
the
that.
stone, he's gonna carve it out, but that won't take
No
long.
one's gonna carry that out of there.
It's got a lift or something?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Probably
he's got his machine to put it in and everything. There's a line of plastic pipe that kind of denotes where not to go before you get to that wooden fence. And those come right out of the ground very easily. You can remove those, set the chair, put it back, no issues. We had a good meeting, and
Yeah,
I'm
nice,
sure they'll be very appreciative.
nice people.
All right,
Found them at the beach, again, Dave and Erin are gonna be doing that down at the pavilion. July 11th, every Tuesday, 7 to 8:30. If you want lessons, they'll give you lessons. You wanna just dance, you can dance. So that's their idea, and they're volunteering, and it's a free program. We got yoga starting on June 2nd through August 25th, every Friday morning, 8 o'clock. We just sent out letters to the cardboard boat race. We're trying to get a camp division, but each camp has a boat, and they have their own little race too, so we'll see about that. Pause in the Park, we finally got a porta potty donated. Been trying for years, and we got one. The school, I guess the janitor's on vacation that week, so we couldn't get in their bathrooms, so we had to get porta potties, but donated it, which is great. Chair, I get that. I watched a little of your meeting when they talked about the damage down at the wall there at 19 Mile Bay. And I had asked Guy and talked about insurance and stuff. Are we gonna pay for that?
I imagine so.
Yeah. I mean, there's no culprit we can go after.
all right,
So that's gonna be a big bill. Would you guess?
Probably,
Yeah.
Yeah.
probably
Well,
multiple
just the
thousands of
engineering's
dollars.
gonna be a pretty good sized bill, probably.
How much?
Multiple thousands of dollars.
And we're gonna still let just people go on there in the winter.
They're gonna go on anyways, whether we
Well, it's really the only,
fix it or not.
it's
Just to
I
be
think it's-
interesting.
the only or one of the only solid ice accesses.
Melvin's the only other one that I know of that's, and I wouldn't call,
At the-
they do it all the time, that's all I can tell you.
Yeah,
Yeah, they do it.
at the end of
No, off
River
fr-
Street or whatever.
No, at the Melvin Wharf, on the beach right there.
Even though there's a bubbler,
Excuse me?
even though there's a bubbler, isn't there a bubbler?
The bubbler's farther out, and they go off to the right just a little bit, and the snowmobiles and towing trailers and stuff out there, small trailers, not camps, but that is another access point that they use. And we're stuck.
Yeah,
I think two things happened there. I think you got freeze damage, which buckled the ramp,
Yeah.
and then somebody hit the wall, which knocked that stone out of place, that block out of place.
Had to be a plow. I mean, that thing's heavy. You know.
yeah.
Hopefully they fix it right, because that webbing thing, when I first got here, it was plastic. Now it's kind of the same webbing, but it's
Stone.
stone, and it's a
Yeah.
mess. It's
He's
not a good
gonna
setup.
he's gonna be looking at other
Yeah.
methods.
It's just a shame if it costs us 10 grand to, that's, drives you nuts. The only other thing too I had was, we're having so much activity at the townhouse, I'd love to someday try and get a sign. People don't know where that is. People coming from other places, you know, a townhouse sign at the bottom, you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, a permanent sign on a post sort of thing.
Yeah. But I'm still trying to get a fridge in it. It's still up there, so.
Good luck at that.
Yeah. That's all I have, guys. Anything
All
else?
right, I'm good to go. Anybody else? All right, thanks, Dennis.
Yeah, lasagna Saturday, come on down.
Uh-huh.
Intending to be there.
All right, next up, we got Scott Thompson. Come on up, Scott. Sorry it took so long.
That's all right.
I hope so.
What can I do for you?
Well, we got questions.
All right.
We have your proposal to
Okay.
install a generator.
Yep.
It says here that the cost is $9,200, subject to change, of course, market, materials, etc. But then on the corner of the proposal, it says $2,000 to the fire department donation,
Mhm.
and then $7,200.
It does, yeah.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work like that.
No.
So,
So the fire department has its own fund
right,
that they buy stuff with.
yeah,
and Donations are welcome, obviously. But we're still gonna cut a check for $9,200.
okay,
And so it doesn't reduce the town's cost to
Mhm.
$7,200 because the fire department, I don't know what that's called. It's like a
so,
firefighters charitable trust or something like that.
Something to that effect, yes.
Yeah.
I kind of figured that would happen, but, so, you can pay me the full amount and I'll just write Adam a check, or the fire
That's
department.
the cleanest way to do
Yeah.
it. I mean, if we were trying to move, it would be impossible, I think, for
Yeah,
us to move.
and I
the
understand that, so, yeah, no problem, I can,
But what that does bring to mind is that we have another bid
yeah,
that we could accept,
yeah.
which is
And you know-
$2,000 cheaper.
And you know what, and that's perfectly fine with me if you accept that bid and you do it however you like. However, I will say this, a 10 kW at Melvin's fire station is basically a waste of town money. You know, you only have 40 amps with that generator. So if there's an electric water heater, that's 25 amps. And you're left with
15?
not much.
I think last week when we were talking about this, didn't we say we'd wanna talk to that other bidder?
Yes.
Because it's like apples and oranges.
I mean, and the thing here is I don't need the work, so I'm not looking for a job, I'm just looking to help out the fire station.
But we're not, we shouldn't be getting, you know, allowing another bidder to come in with 4,000 less wattage
Mm-hmm.
at a lower number. I mean, that doesn't.
Well,
of course it's gonna be
I
wrong.
think the two other bids were in the 10 and the 11 kW range, and to me, why bother? You know, if Adam puts another piece of equipment in there in a few years, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, we don't have enough. What if they put a car charger up? You're already done. And it, you know, everything is swinging to electric. So, you know, to undersize the generator doesn't even make any sense. You know, not like I said, I don't need the work and I'm not looking for it, I'm just looking to help out the fire station. Adam, they do a lot for people, I just wanted to do the same for them. They helped my mother-in-law a lot, a year and a half, 2 years ago, so really, you got a lot of good guys there.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. All right,
No question.
so basically, if we do need to bring the other man in.
Yeah,
Before we make a
and like I
decision,
said, you
but
guys pick whoever you
We
want.
just wanted to explain what our
Yeah.
concern was.
Yeah.
And that's fine, that's good.
And so I can, however it works, whether I get it or not, I'll still cut him a check, so,
Well, there you go.
you know,
Fine,
but,
great.
Well,
You'll be in touch, one way or the
Yeah.
other, for sure, Scott.
okay.
Appreciate it.
So just to be clear,
Yeah.
your price is $9,200.
It is 9,200. And you know what? His, and I'll tell you exactly what it costs. It's about 5,600 to 5,800 just to buy the material, and my cost would be about $5,800 just to buy the materials for that job, and that doesn't include any work. It's probably two guys at least a full day to do it. So, as, you know. So if I'm not if I'm not doing it for 9,200, I might as well not bother, because really,
And you're doing the propane hookup as well?
nope, the propane's totally separate.
Yeah,
Right,
that
that
was
was-
just being done by,
We voted on that one, I
Okay,
forget who
yeah.
it was, but we did.
Sorry.
Great.
But anyway, so
All
there
right,
you have
well,
it.
that clears that up.
Yeah.
That's all we needed to know for now.
All right. If you have any other questions, let me know.
Absolutely. And thanks for everything you do for us.
Yep, no
Appreciate
problem.
it.
Have a nice day.
All right. Okay, now, next, we have Steve Scipicchio. Oh, boy. Come on up, Steve.
Oh boy.
Yep.
I didn't like the sound of that, oh boy. What's up?
Well, you didn't ask to come?
No,
Oh,
I was invited.
who invited you?
You all did.
Yeah, we all did.
Well,
Yeah.
if we had the minutes, we could probably refer
There's
to
a
them.
couple
Yes.
of-
We
Oh,
had those. So, we've been in contact with town's legal people. Got an email back from them. This concerns having Jim Cowles do some work on the deed
Oh,
for the Lions property.
up for the Lions property or for the Appleton Potter property?
Let me just check that out. I thought it was Lions, but it may not be.
I think it is lines.
It is Lion.
It's fine, that they have the problem with the chain in the title?
Yes,
I just saw that email today.
right.
You're on top of it, guy.
Yeah, trying to be. Either way, our attorney thinks that the $300 that it would cost to have Jim Cowles straighten that out is worth the effort.
Okay,
And I would say, feel free to go ahead with that,
okay, perfect.
if the others agree.
I agree.
So is he's gonna clear the title for $300?
Yeah, it's, the wording is just the tiniest little bit at
Oh, is it?
the last time it was transferred, they didn't write down.
Well, I thought the banks were reversed or something.
Yeah, that was the deal.
Citizens Bank bought some mortgage company, and what happened is Citizens Bank discharged the mortgage before they bought the mortgage company.
Right,
Okay.
So just a matter of reversing the order.
yes, very simple.
It's not simple.
All right, I have a motion to let Steve go ahead with that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else you'd like to talk about, Steve?
God, I'd like to talk about that seep, if you will.
Sure.
There's, at the transfer station, there's a lot of noise out there about
PVC, the PP
PFAS.
fast.
PFAS.
Well,
is a great-
that's another conversation.
Oh, okay, that's not even that.
There's a picture, and I don't think we have it with us tonight,
No,
but I think Guy went out and actually.
I did look
saw
at it.
So he could point you in the right direction, go look at it, and whether or not we need to do additional testing there. And that would be a recommendation from the Conservation Commission.
Okay.
That we want to do additional testing.
I was actually planning to bring that up at the next meeting.
Okay, 2 weeks, sure.
Yep, we'll talk about that.
Oh, at the next.
Next Conservation Commission
Yeah.
meeting,
Okay,
and explain what was going on and the concerns that were expressed. And
right.
I know there's been some concern expressed in the past. But we're good for the moment, that's all. I did look at it. I've looked at it many times over the years, before there was even anything there. It's a hollow in the ground. It always filled up with water in the spring and dried out, but it hasn't dried out now forever.
Forever. Yeah.
And of course, the surrounding area is discolored. There's so much iron in the water that will happen. There's also a test wall there, but basically, the concern is testing outside the ground management zone, which I believe is a requirement. We'll find out. Anyway, we'll talk about it at the next Conservation Commission meeting. It's on my agenda.
And did we have a clarification as to what the former chairman of the commission did at Lakes Region?
Yes, we do, and that's in our signature file.
Does Steve need to weigh in?
I've actually talked with Steve about it already,
All right.
so we're good.
Okay.
Excellent.
So the only other thing that, I don't know if you guys know it, but on May 20th, we have a trail cleanup day.
There you go, May 20th.
May
Trail cleanup
20th,
day.
trail, and we're doing Central Park, Great Meadow, and Hackle Eastman. So we're gonna go through, because I saw in your minutes from a couple weeks back that somebody complained there was a tree down in Central Park Trails.
Oh, yes.
But we'll take care of that on the 20th.
And we got the trail moved or whatever.
Yes, so, we talked about putting a bridge over that, but, after thinking about it, and they wanna build the bike trails there, that wouldn't work. So I actually, there was a kind of a semi-trail up a little further, I moved the trail up there, so it doesn't go anywhere near the.
I mentioned that at the last meeting, and I had a little map of it where you'd draw it. It's a very simple, easy one to do that one.
Yeah,
Excellent.
and I just thought, if he's gonna make a bike trail, I don't quite know where the trail's going, but, I figured just keeping the bikes and everything away from that cell tower, if somebody will get hurt, I can just see them trying to jump over those rocks and making a whole fun thing down there.
They love a challenge.
Oh, yeah. So I just figured if we just stay away from that whole cell tower, it would be better for everybody and we don't have to worry about it.
Right. Very good.
So we have that on May 12th. The other thing we got going on, just to give you a heads up, is on May 12th, along with Moose Mountain Regional Greenways, we have all the conservation commissions from their area coming to Great Meadow just to kind of walk the trail. They're pretty impressed with what we've done. They want to kind of do some of that stuff in their town, so.
So it's commissions from other towns?
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that enables us to get those L-chip grants without a
Right.
problem, because, the word gets back to them that we're
Right.
doing all this stuff, and they're very, very in favor of giving the money to Tufton Borough right now.
Let's get all we
Well,
can.
we should get some projects.
Yeah, I'm working on it, Chip.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, guys,
All right.
have a good
All
night.
right.
Thank you.
Okay, next
Thank you,
up
Steve.
would be the police department, but we are a little ahead of schedule now. Would we care to do a
Only
signature?
7 minutes ahead.
Can I go back to
Yes.
this,
Parks and Rec?
Parks and Rec budget that you're suggesting that we move some money around?
I know, I'm suggesting you overspend the line.
Yeah, suggesting we overspend the line. So $5,000 was, can I talk about this, Mr. Chairman?
I don't know why not.
$5,000 was budgeted for recreational areas.
Right.
What was that specific purpose for recreational areas? Where did that number $5,000 come from? Don't tell me Dennis. Do you remember exactly where it came
I'd
from?
have to look at my notes.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly where it came from,
I don't have it
but
with
if my concern is that if that $5,000 is a placeholder for anything that may come up,
Mhm.
then you can sell me. But if the $5,000 was specific to something in mind already, that we were budgeting for, then I got a problem with that.
Well, I'm not impacting the 5,000. My suggestion wasn't an impact on that 5,000. We can look that up. I don't have a problem doing that. But if he's absolutely, definitely not gonna spend the $8,400,
Mm-hmm.
then it is at the end of the year gonna go back into the undesignated fund balance.
Understood.
So, do we wanna go down that road? Or do we wanna spend $7,000 on a bike trail, $1,400 left on that line, basically?
Mm-hmm.
But actually, the line would be $8,400, and we got $12,000 spent on recreational.
Well, the problem I see is that he would want the $7,000 in June.
Yeah, now, not at the end of the year.
Well, no, there's no reason to wait till the end of the year. I mean, if we're gonna wait till the end of the year, it's just gonna go into the undesignated.
Well,
fund.
hold on,
Okay.
please.
Sure.
We split up the 16,000 and change that we generally give to Wolfboro
Mhm.
with no reckoning. And now we have 8488 and we have 8173. If Wolfboro sends us a bill for $16,000 and we've taken 7 out of that 848, where's the rest of that coming from?
Well,
And we won't know that till the end of the year. So if we short, or I say we move that now, we could end up having to dig somewhere else in the budget to fund
in
it.
this budget, right,
Yeah, and there's not gonna be that kind of money available.
Not in this budget.
not in
No.
this budget, no.
So that's my concern about moving it. I understand that I'm kind of sympathetic
Well,
to it,
the
but
reasoning for budgeting the Wolfboro number at $8,100 was that was what we felt we were gonna pay them,
Okay,
regardless of their bill.
regardless of their bill.
And
All
what are
right.
they gonna do, take us to court for the shortfall? I don't, I really don't know.
I don't either.
I mean, if it is that we'll accept whatever they'll send us for a bill, and these two numbers will add up to that amount or a little more than that amount, then it really is a Pyrrhic victory. We're the only ones who knew the $8,100 was sitting here.
Right.
We had never made that translation off to Wolfboro, so we didn't make our point, is what I'm saying.
Well, as we approach his June deadline, I guess we can talk about this some more.
Yeah, we'll have to, because I just don't think it's a good idea. But I've been sold before.
Okay.
And I'm all for him raising all the money
Mm-hmm.
to do the bike trail. I think that's a brilliant idea.
I do too, I'm sympathetic to it, but my concerns are budget related, not the project itself.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we had, okay, and just to finalize this conversation on that particular, we never voted to spend that 67,000, because he didn't have it. He didn't sign the contract.
Right.
We never went down the road of, okay, we're fully on board and we'll make sure the money's there.
Right.
His whole program was based upon them raising it independently and putting it into their revolving fund,
Right.
so.
There you go.
This is, outside the question, I think.
But it's related.
Oh, yeah, no, I appreciate the ask.
Sure. Well, we got a couple of minutes. I don't see the police chief. I got two signatures here that we could do. One is for a transfer station employee whose probationary period is up. They're asking for a one-step pay increase. And it says here, one signature, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen. Oh no, I lied. All three. It doesn't say. Yes, it does. It's from $20.12 to $20.52.
So,
Motion to approve?
40-cent raise?
Yep.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
It's generally what we do at the end of probation.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. The date today is.
May 1st.
May 1st,
Hooray, hooray. 1st of May.
International.
Don't go any farther with what you're gonna say. How's that work? Pretty good? And then secondly, we have an abatement request, which has been, which is recommended that we deny from the assessor. I've looked it over in good shape. I think Chip has. Have you looked at it, Bob?
I've read it and I agree with the assessor's sentiments.
All right, so motion to deny the abatement.
So moved.
I'll second.
No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Get that out of the way. And we'll see if Chief Shiguri comes waltzing in here right shortly, or not.
He's got 35 seconds.
No, we may have to send our delightful assistant, Vanna Wakefield, again.
Okay.
Yep, we'll know in just a minute.
Yeah.
I believe it's in action items. Another one we could sign. The appointment for Tim Galvin to the Lakes Region Planning Commission.
In what capacity?
I'll do 1 second, right there. Member.
I
Is
assume
it coming?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. We'll do this in a few minutes.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Is that the one you were talking about?
No.
Okay.
Because
It had nothing?
right,
All right.
it was a
was it one felon or were there multiple felons? You've got 100+ % increase in felonies.
I'd have to look at it, but I think there was increase had to do with, seem to be getting some calls about contractors. They may end up not being felonies, but they're reported as
These
such.
are-
Several, we've had several with contractors haven't,
So not violent felons.
Haven't
they're just
fulfilled their obligations.
yeah,
contractual
may have taken a
felons.
deposit to do work and haven't done it. We take the case, but then we refer it to, there's one of those. There's also been some with false ID where people have hacked accounts and taken money, and then that goes to actually the FTC, and the banks usually revert the money back to the people. So that's what we've been dealing with. I guess maybe there's 2 of those with work that wasn't done, and several of them were
So these
ID theft.
aren't
Financial
cases that you prosecute, this is something you take on to the county attorney? Or do you prosecute?
These are what come in. It doesn't necessarily mean we prosecute anything. They could be referred to other agencies like the Federal Trade Commission or the Attorney General's office, because they do the things with contractors. So, and they decide whether or not they're going to go forward, or the county attorney in one case for that.
Are you allowed to tell us, when it says willful concealment, what was willfully concealed?
I had the same question.
So willful concealment is like shoplifting. So it's
Oh,
an item
okay.
that was
All right.
lifted
That-
from the store.
Settles it quite nicely.
It's
Yep.
Shoving it in your shirt or jacket or something.
Yep, trying to abscond with something you didn't pay for.
something like that.
Yeah. It looks like most everything's down, except for those felonies, and now contractors are getting back out there again with the weapons. Yeah.
Well, calls for service are up a little bit too.
Yeah.
Well,
But I think there's just the one contractor one we're looking at, and like I said, it's not. We did have a burglary or 2. We haven't had any, I can't think of any violent felonies offhand, so there was a few like that.
that's good.
Oops.
All right.
And now I just noticed that on my training thing, yeah, I didn't finish. There's a couple of those are from last month. I apologize. The MDT certification, the Safe Roads and First Amendment audit, those are from last month. Those are artifacts from last month.
Okay.
So
And is there a bike rodeo come up this spring, or is that?
there will be, every year we've had one, so I
Yeah.
expect we'll have one this year.
In May?
It's usually May before Memorial Day,
Okay.
before they usually do it then.
That weekend? Or before?
Before it,
Yeah.
because the kids are kind of.
Gotta be during school.
Yeah,
They'll be out on a
the
long
kid-
weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, the kids are ready to go for a long weekend, so
Yeah.
it kind of works out to do it beforehand.
It's good.
So I did reach out to Mulligan about, the quote for the SSV. The person that was doing that was on vacation. They reached out to Nevo about taking the equipment out of the vehicles out here. We've got the radios are being updated programming in them this week. We did have drug take back at the transfer station. I won't be getting a list of how much because we didn't get a label on it like we're supposed to be. Applicants were down to 1 for the test, which is coming up this Saturday. I did have somebody else recently reach out through Indeed. I don't know how that's going to work out. Haven't heard back after reaching out to them. There might be somebody else available to test in June. Then because they're on active duty right now, they won't be free till the fall. So that's where that's at. We're down to 1 for Saturday.
But you're keeping the other ones alive, right?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the others said they can't do it or won't do it or
Or the
have a
guy that's on
contract.
active duty, for instance.
Yeah. Yeah, I told them we'll see what we can do in June. So we just did breaching training with the fire department and we're working on use of force and taser. We're working on that. One of the things you asked me about was on the cost of equipment and uniforms for an officer. I'm working on that.
Mhm.
Started getting general prices for what that costs. And then, are you working on the policies? There's an IT policy that was sent out through Lakes Region to our training portal for cybersecurity. Or you might wanna coordinate that with Lakes Region Computer so that whatever you come up with for a policy gets up there. Cause that's what, we have to sign off on it and test on it and all that. That's part of our cybersecurity insurance requirements that we're trained and all that for Primex.
Do you have a copy of it?
I don't have it handy, but I can print it off what he put together.
If you can be.
Yeah, I'll get it to Cameron. Well,
Yeah, we've
Cameron
already-
can get it, cause she's in that, we're all in that portal.
And I think we sent that portion of the manual off to our attorney as well.
We did.
So we need to hear back from her.
Well, you see roads in the last storm here, Sodom roads washed out, and then some of the ditches and some of the roads have
Right.
sustained some damage. And then Camp Belknap reached out about the days for changing of campers, you know, when they swap them out. Still working on, they're gonna use the same traffic plan they've used in the past. And they're not, but they won't be checking for COVID, so they won't have a reason to hold people for 15, 20 minutes waiting for results. Checking the campers for COVID as they come in, but they will still come in through the field there as they did in the past.
Rather than the road.
Rather than, well, they'll come up through the field and then they'll send them down down the road afterwards after they come through the field, like check-ins in the field. The reason they reached out is they said, well, we know you're short-handed. Anyway, they wanted to know if they needed officers for that, because in the past we've had 2, and that was maybe more than needed to be, but I also said, we really can't have cars backed up in the road either at Chase Point. So they're supposed to get me the days and dates and see what they're offering up in writing, so I have it in writing as to what they're proposing.
And would it, I don't know if it'd be useful at all, but I mean, we've got those illuminated signs now, you know, to notify the people on Chase Point that, you know, Sunday the 5th or whatever.
I think they do notify through their neighborhood emails. So you got some people down in Chase Point are like, it's only a couple hours
Yeah.
a month that we just avoid it, and then there are others that don't see that it's such a great idea. But they do notify their neighbors already of that. So, as far as I know, that's my understanding how that goes.
Good.
Because I would think notification would help. You need to talk to our Parks and Rec director
Okay?
about an incident that he had at one of his programs. Although it's on the tape, but I'm not gonna go into detail over it again, but just so that you're aware that the incident happened. We're not suggesting that, you know, knocking door to door or anything like that, just that I think he notified the school folks, but I just wanted to make sure that he notified the police department as well. Not that I think anything will happen, but if we drop the ball at this level and something does happen, then we're,
Yeah.
What, did it happen recently or
A couple
Well,
weeks
one-
ago.
Yeah.
a couple of days ago?
A couple weeks ago.
Couple weeks
ago.
Yeah, just review the tape when it gets published.
For today?
Yeah.
Okay,
Or- yeah.
or I'll talk to Dennis.
Yeah,
We can do that too.
Probably be the easiest.
Yeah.
Take less time to give him a jingle or if he's here to talk to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will.
Not a panic.
I don't think that we were told about it, so.
Nope.
No, he didn't mention it, he told the police, so I just wanted to make sure
So it's kinda-
everybody's up to speed on
Yep.
what happened.
Okay.
Just something that you should know about.
Okay.
I can't think of anything else that I would require from the chief at this time.
You know, how's the car coming?
Well, I did reach out to him you talking about getting the new one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reached out to them.
Oh,
He was on
that-
vacation last week. So I reached out to him before and he said he would hold it till he found out. I noticed this little, earlier today I was on their website, they have probably 5 or 6 of those, so they still have some, and he did say he would set it aside till he heard for sure, and I let him know, but he was away last week, so. And then, like I said, I contacted Nevo about taking the stuff out of take the truck first, come back with the stuff, and then work on the,
And are you arranging the sale of the used piece, or is Robert getting involved with that, or
No,
did you the last time?
I just gave him a copy of what I used for an advertisement.
yeah,
He did the rest.
I just put
Worked
it
out.
on Craigslist.
Yeah, it worked out fine, right?
Yeah,
Perfect.
it worked out.
And
I don't see any reason to do it differently unless you do.
No, I mean, I don't know how they're doing at the state auction. State auction, I'm surprised how much they get for them.
yeah,
They seem to do quite well down there. They have a bunch of dealers that come through and,
Yeah.
but, I mean, you have to
ship
get
'em
it
up.
down there,
ship them off to Columbia.
probably. Well, that's why we take the stuff off, so you don't see them on the nightly news being used someplace like that plumber in Texas had.
So, back to Camp Donut, so that's a detail issue or arrangement?
Well, he's asking if we need a detail, and I wanna see what he's got planned to avoid it or not, you know what I'm saying, so that's,
Well, if he wants 2 officers down there.
well, he doesn't want any down there is what he doesn't, he'd rather, he thinks he can take care of himself, I wanna see what he's got planned.
Well, historically, he hasn't been able to take care of himself, so.
Yeah, but historically, once they went through driving through there with the COVID issues of screening, and they could hold people in the field and minimize the number of cars. Once there was somebody, somebody wasn't in, then you didn't let them out of the field. It seemed to work, but that's the key, right? As long as they monitor how many people go.
Yeah, but I think to avoid problems with the neighborhood, I think you should put as many people on the field as long as possible.
Yeah, it
You
isn't,
park in the field, I mean, parking along that road just creates nothing but havoc.
Right. No, that's the idea. Is to, if they get down and they can't, not to let any more out of the field. You know what I mean?
but is all of that litigation done down
Oh
there?
gosh, no.
No. So it's ripe for some sort of confrontation.
Yeah, because he also notifies the neighbors, and if somebody has a
Right.
concern about it, if you will, they'll
Mhm.
make sure they're there during that time.
So
Right.
having the 2 conflicting parties try to resolve an issue is probably not the smartest way to go, I don't think. I think you need to be, this is my opinion, I think just to de-escalate things if they get out of hand, or you're gonna get a phone call, and then
And that's
you
why
got
he,
a maximum or a minimum of 15 minutes to get there,
the
and
dates.
a lot can happen in 15 minutes.
That's why I need the dates to see, and I want it in writing as to what he's actually got planned.
I think it's pretty compelling that you
Yeah.
should be there, or somebody should be there.
Well, we should be meeting again with you before the camp opens, eh?
Oh, definitely.
So you'll have a better handle on it by
Yeah.
then, we hope, and then we
Yeah.
can talk about it more, that's good.
That's my plan, is to
No,
get
find out what's
more
happening,
information and
absolutely.
I think it worked pretty good, but they were also waiting for results, and people were expecting to sit.
Mm-hmm.
Do know that there was concerns from the other side, from the camp, that it was ruining their field, and they'd have to spend a lot of money to fix their field. At one point that was mentioned, but I kind of thought it was better to make sure the road was open too and safe, and they can make arrangements for what they need to do.
You have to be able to get fire apparatus down that road.
Well, it didn't seem as though it was that big an issue 10 years ago or 5 years ago. It wasn't as much of an issue, if you will. Or maybe it's.
We didn't have an issue before, and this is something that's come the last, well, probably since some of the legal stuff started.
Right.
Are there signs closing off one side of the road at least
No,
for parking?
there's nothing, no signs.
So people could park on both sides of the road down there?
Theoretically, they could, yes. But that would, I mean, we obviously would not condone that, and I do have an officer check on it, but,
I don't think physically you can park on the south side without getting into the ditch. I
you
mean,
know,
Well, people will.
it's not, most of them they're parking going in though, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So they're all on one's,
yeah, but when the inside, that side fills up, they're gonna go up, turn around and park on the other side.
And
And
they've
if,
got a lot of-
and if they're gonna roll into the ditch, then they're gonna park on the road.
They got a lot of interior roads in there too, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not as if
it's,
there's no
I,
room.
they tip, what has happened in the past, they parked on one side and they snaked all the way, quite a ways down the road, but all on that one side, because they're going to drop off their kids, or they're going to drive in and pick up their kids, if you will. One of the problems one year that made it so many was people showed up early, and so I tried to emphasize, tell people not to show up early, because they show up early, they don't let them on the property until there's a set time. So we're trying to work through that and make sure it's not a problem.
Can we do like they do at the Sandwich Fair and close off one side of the road, put up temporary police order, no parking signs on
We
one
could.
side?
Okay, and obviously in my discussions in the last couple of years about it, when I said, the other option is the selectmen could say, no stopping, standing, and that obviously was a concern too.
Yeah.
That it could be the whole road could be legally set to no stopping, standing, parking, but it's not done that, and they're trying to mitigate it,
Then
so
they'll
it
be out
doesn't get
on
to that.
109.
And that's, all that does is load you up, and there's no way you can enforce that without having a police officer there.
True.
It just
And a
is
record available.
unenforceable.
Right.
Well, I mean, it serves notice, though, it gives us some powers to do something, though, if we do.
But you can only do something if you're there to do it.
Yeah. So,
All right. Anything further for the chief?
Not here.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, chief.
Appreciate it. All right, action items. The appointment for Tim Galvin to the Lakes Region Planning Commission as a member.
Okay, and that's what,
Okay.
our former, Steve Wingate is a member. Is that
Yes.
what- So we're replacing,
Steve Wingate, a member,
right,
with Tim Galvin, a member.
So
okay.
he's essentially a representative of Tuftonboro.
Yes, he's not a chairman or anything else. Not TAC, that's Lloyd Wood.
Okay.
Yep.
So now we're gonna have two members, or Lloyd's on a different committee?
Lloyd's on a much different committee. He's on the Transportation Advisory Committee.
Okay, so the roads.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
We need a second. We have no other volunteers. You can second for purposes of discussion if you'd like.
In the interest of comity, I'll second.
All right. Is there any discussion?
Well, we have a member that wants to serve, a town member who's well invested in the town and wants to serve. I see no reason not to.
The question in my mind, and I, could care less about whether he enjoys my company or not,
Right.
is how much of that searching for a problem that has no solution is gonna come back to us from the Lakes Region Planning Commission.
I myself have given that some thought. It occurred to me that this could happen. There's no way to know.
No, there isn't, but I think we need to be, if you're gonna call for a vote at some moment here, it's important that it's not out there in the air, that we're aware that that might become an issue.
Certainly, and now it is.
Yeah. How long is the term?
The term, until another person shall be chosen and qualified in your stead.
I think it's 2.
Now, I'm looking farther down.
It's-
Cammy, if you know where it says 2 years, I would love to see it, because I don't.
Expiration date is right here.
Oh, excuse me.
Let's do yours.
I need stronger glasses.
Oh, here.
The term,
The ones you like the best.
the term expires June of 2025, so it would be 2 years
2 years from today.
today. So, would you like to speak again? You took a breath like you
No.
No, you'd not like to speak again.
I'm okay.
All right.
just updated the training on that.
Okay, thank you. If there's no further discussion, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. It's unanimous. So Cammy,
Yes.
you'll be getting this paper, and Jim will have to come in and fill out the bottom section of it, but you can notify him that he is being appointed. And then we have a unpaid receivables list from the tax collector, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 unpaid receivables here. She sends us a note that says these properties are all up for deeding as of 5/5/23. I think all will pay except the last 2. They are both at North Country Village. Do you want to deed the others if they don't pay? If all these properties are up for deeding and 2 of them don't pay, then I would think we would have to do that.
Well,
We need to take some kind of action with this.
right, I think, are we meeting next Monday?
No,
No.
we're not meeting for another 2 weeks.
15th.
Maybe we could get, I'll meet with Jackie,
All right?
because historically, we've had people that have run over the deeding date
Yes,
and have somehow come up with the money and
right.
paid, and it just gets complicated when we start deeding things out.
Would you like to take this
I-
with you, and then that'll give you
I've
the,
gotta see her anyway, I think tomorrow or Wednesday.
Okay.
so.
but that'll be fine. That pretty much takes care of our action items for the evening. Actually, not pretty much, it does take care of them. Then we're on to correspondence. In correspondence, we have an invitation to attend an open house at Camp Belknap, Sunday, June 11th, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Please RSVP if you want to go. We have, I'll call it a letter from Encore Renewable Energy about the possibility of putting a solar array in Central Park, which I've read. I know Chip's looked at it.
I've seen it.
And of course, we're not very amenable to that, so we've already decided that's not a good location. Then we have the New Hampshire Natural Heritage Bureau letter, NHB data check results letter. This is concerning work on Curtis Road. And it says that we would use hazard mitigation grant program funding to replace the existing Curtis Road drainage system. Temporary easements are expected. Equipment staging would occur on the north end of the project limits within the right-of-way. Proposed tree removal area, on and on. And it says it's check the records for any rare species. Doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary. Based on the information submitted, no further consultation with New Hampshire Fish and Game Department pursuant to FIS 1004 is required. It does say that an on-site survey would provide better information on what species and communities are indeed present. Has a little map of the project. I'm not really sure what this is telling us, other than they've actually received the application.
HEB
Has done that.
had 3 different projects or 4 different projects.
Right, one of them is
And
down
this
there.
is the first response we've gotten.
Yeah,
So I think they should, does it say they got CC'd on that?
They
or-
did, Chris did.
He did?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so HEB's
They're on it.
on that.
And then we have a certificate of completion for training for Primex. This is for our Chief Shigari for the free speech rights afforded to the public sector employees. So much for correspondence. Then we're on to Selectmen's updates.
I have no updates
While
this week.
it's fresh in my mind, because you just spoke it,
Certainly.
when you go to the Parks and Rec meeting, is that tomorrow?
Tomorrow night, yeah.
Mention Primex, because they didn't give us the money because they never built the trail. the $25,000 for that trail over at the nursing home.
Right.
And, you know, they have that fund that they tap from time to time. And if we
Right.
could say that our fire personnel and our police personnel were gonna use that for exercise purposes, we could probably make a deal for $7,000.
Oh, if there was a bike trail there, they could use that for rescue kind of training and things, they could bring, oh yes,
Yeah,
entirely
so there's a
possible.
lot of,
Yeah,
meat
Good
there
puzzle.
that could be.
Yeah.
And they have a history of giving. I'm gonna meet with Tyler Phillips. The reason I'm meeting with him alone.
Yep.
Is he wanted to give one selectman, and he had my phone number or
Mhm.
email, the information that he has about the project at the pier.
Okay,
And the progress that's going on with that. His feeling was that if it were two selectmen now, all of a sudden it's a meeting, and it doesn't really need to be a meeting quite yet, we need to talk about what he's looking at.
so you're gonna get information with him, and you're gonna bring it back to the board,
Right.
at probably the next selectmen's update.
And then, it will be,
Okay.
but I just wanna forewarn you that I was going out there.
I have no
Absolutely.
problem with that.
Not at all.
Part of one of the questions I have is how does this split come up with the boat launch versus the pier itself?
Right,
Cause we're getting, and he's been working on a grant for that boat launch, and I'm not sure how that coordinates with.
And people have asked in multiple opportunities as if that was all part of the same project.
Right,
And-
right.
And we've had to say that, no,
And
it's two separate.
And I wanted to get him, obviously, I think we all wanna get that project started or awarded or something.
right,
Mhm.
And
definitely.
then get along towards,
Been hanging over our head a long time.
River Road or whatever that is up in Melbourne.
River
Right.
Street
And get that one started for next year.
or Lake Road.
Lake Road, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've enlisted the help of my sister, who's a board member of New Hampshire Electric Co-op, to look with me as well as with Rob Rorston, is it?
Robert
Yes,
Royston.
budget committee.
From the budget committee. And we're hopefully sometime in the next 2 weeks, we're sitting down. I've given them packets of the solar information that we have. But we need to look at the bills and look at the rate we're paying and get a strategy together for how we're gonna approach New Hampshire Electric Co-op, and also a structure to our RFP, which
We need,
we need to put out there, although we don't have the money to do the project. We have design money, so
Right.
we can put that to,
we'll be able to present something.
right. So hopefully that's gonna happen in the
Excellent.
next couple of weeks.
My contact up at USource,
Mhm.
who helps us purchase electricity at the county, didn't want to get involved in our solar project, but she recommended the company that they use on bigger projects, which is Ace Solar,
Okay,
who does municipal type projects, so that's another name to,
yeah, like the
Have that.
sandwich people.
yeah,
So it's
Ace Solar,
Ace, does she have a, I'll look him up online.
yeah. So
Yeah, because
that's
there
what we got.
are 2 other companies that I'm gonna start reaching out to.
Well, Revision's the big dog.
Right, Norwich were too small, but I wanted to reach back out to them and say, how much too small? Because maybe
Right.
150 is over the line for them, we could get a bid out of them, cause
Right,
they're really highly recommended, so.
and then maybe we can sell electricity.
Yeah, well, and that's the other reason I brought Alana into the deal, because there's so many programs that New Hampshire Electric has that may work for us or may not.
Right.
And so we know going into a meeting with them, whether we're limited to net metering or whether we can create a new model for this particular project. And also, what is the remuneration? I mean, it changes, I guess hourly some days on what they pay you for your electricity.
Right.
So
Nice.
I'll have more to say when finish that meeting.
Good.
And maybe we'll get close, we'll have to come in and we'll talk about it. But, the power purchasing agreements that she's seen are totally different than the power purchasing agreements that we've been given. So that was the other reason I wanted to bring her on board, because
Selectmen's meeting.
there are operations that are making or getting their electricity paid for
Yes.
in addition to the ground lease. And the proposals that we've gotten were just ground lease proposals, there was nothing added to it. That's it for me, buddy.
All right.
Revisions pro forma, I thought that was a net metering scenario versus just the pro forma that we got from revision. That was,
They gave us two. They gave us a net metering and they also gave us power purchase. And then they had a Maryland company ship us a business plan for their power purchasing arrangement.
and that would be the ground lease.
Yeah, it's just $3,000 a year.
Right.
Which just isn't,
That doesn't
I mean, it's great for the environment, I guess, but that's not really our purpose. I mean,
Is it great for the
It's
environment?
one of our purposes, but it's not the purpose.
Right. Doesn't save us money on electricity.
That's the point, it's all about the money.
Yep.
On that. Unless Bob says something to me.
No.
As already discussed, I had met with Dennis and the Friends of Jerry Conroy. Decided where to put the stone, we agreed to that. Just to clear up this Attorney Cowles and what he's got to do one more time. There was a mortgage on the Lyon property. It got sold or transferred twice. When the mortgage was actually paid off, the last bank's name was not put on the discharge paper. It was still the name of the second bank. So that is what Attorney Cowles needs to clean up.
Right.
It's simple,
So
or should be,
Needs a lien release.
yes.
Is
That's it.
Is that bank still in business?
That I don't know.
Because that's the only, historically, I've just remembered my wife working on a particular case, but it was way back during the mortgage crisis,
Right.
where the bank no longer existed, and it was a real bear to get that cleaned up.
Well, this was actually, the last bank received the mortgage in '93. And it was discharged in '93. So it was quick. I don't know if First Central Bank is still in business or not. Banks are closing left and right.
Or merging,
Or,
merging's
yep,
better. Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have. Any other business we'd like to discuss?
So we're not meeting next Monday?
No, we're not. We decided to reschedule.
All right, did we, I know we wore ourselves out on Friday, but did we come up with a date for?
More?
More of that?
No, and I was gonna check my work schedule and I haven't, I was only there for half a day today and I didn't get to it, so,
Okay.
I will let you know some way, somehow.
Okay, well, go through Cammy. I'll make myself available
Yeah.
anytime but next Monday,
Yeah,
which is why we rescheduled.
Yeah.
Fridays, or, I thought that worked out well,
It does for me.
and where it's just, that's the only thing we're doing.
Yeah, but I have to be careful with schedule because
Yeah.
I'm having scheduling, I'm short-staffed and I've got some scheduling issues and I have to make sure that I do it on the right day, that I'm not committed to covering a shift for somebody.
No, that's fine, but I just made that comment, that's all.
All right, if there's no other business, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.